Welcome to Thoughts Can Change Your Life with me, Reverend Lee. Every morning we come together to explore, to expand, to think, to rethink, to consciously think, to ask questions, not to assume. And here's the question today. Why love? Great question, isn't it? You see, until we love, accept, forgive, and honor ourselves, we are unable to share that love with the world. So, if we cannot accept, honor, love, forgive ourselves, do you get that in order to accept yourself, you first have to forgive yourself? You have to be able to see that everything you have done has been part of your journey of awakening, of becoming more aware, of becoming more conscious, and realize that one thing is not better than the other, because everything that has happened to you, to anyone, is for the purpose of becoming more aware. Now, if you're not aware that it is doing that, then you're going to go down the rabbit hole of being a victim. You're going to go down and say, oh, unlucky me. Look at this bad stuff happening to me. But that bad stuff happening to you is telling you, hey, you're vibrating in a different way. Your frequency is such that you are literally attracting that to you. You're attracting those events. You're attracting those people. You're attracting those experiences. And see, when you start to understand that you are energy, and your energy is a frequency, and that frequency that you emanate through your thought atmosphere, all the thoughts that you're thinking, that attracts or repels from you. So then you understand that if I can accept myself, forgive myself, see everything in balance in my life, I'm not only honoring myself, but I'm now capable of being my authentic self without any judgment. And you see, the whole idea of love is the opposite of judgment. So if you're judging yourself, if you're comparing yourselves and putting yourself down when you look at yourself compared to others, there's no love. And if you haven't loved yourself, you can't love anyone else. Yeah, I see you out there, Xandy. Glad to have you back. And all of you out there that are listening right now, thank you for being here. I want you to know how much I appreciate you, how much I love sharing with you. See, my tagline, I have two taglines. Everything begins and ends with self-love. That's number one. Everything begins and ends with self-love. Here's the other tagline. Everything begins with you. If I were saying it, everything begins with me if I'm talking about Lee Wallach. So the work is not working on someone else. The work is not doing things outside yourself. The work is on inner work of being able to behold yourself, to look at all of you in the mirror, in your mind, in your memory, and accept yourself just like you are. I do, Sandy. I do think love is a decision, because it's a decision on where to focus and how to focus. And that decision comes from a level of awareness, which basically is the thing I want most in the world is love. Because here's what I know. At the core of all that we are, love is who we are. We are acceptance. We are balanced beings. 4,628 human traits that every human being has. Everyone has every trait. But what we do is we deny that we have those traits. We don't want to say we have those traits. We have them all. And why do we have them all? Because if we didn't have them all, we couldn't experience contrast. And that's where all of our experience comes from. It comes from our ability to experience the contrast. So there's a lot of people. I remember when I was growing up and when Sandy was growing up, because we're about the same age, it was the hippie movement. It was about peace, love, and happiness. It was about getting high and being free. And that was an illusion because you can't be that all the time. There's going to be the other side, because if there wasn't the other side, you couldn't understand or experience what it's like to be happy, free. You couldn't live that life because there has to be the contrast. So what was interesting in the late 60s, early 70s, when that movement was going on, think about it, there was peace, love, there were Woodstock, there were concerts, there were people smoking dope, people loving on each other. Sex was free, or so they say it was. I never found it to be free, but they said sex was free. And yet at the same time, we were experiencing what? We were experiencing the Vietnam War. We were experiencing the awakening of civil rights. We were experiencing the contrast of Richard Nixon as president. We were experiencing contrast on both sides. So people want to go back and say, I want to be back in the late 60s, early 70s. I want to be back at that time. What they've done is they have forgotten that they were equally challenged as supported. They were forgotten there were as many good times as contrasting times. See where I'm coming from? So when you look at your life now, if you really open up, if you step outside of your mind where you're thinking right now and you observe yourself, there's as much good happening as challenge happening. Same thing in the world today. There's as much challenge as good as happening. The question is, and it comes back to Xandy saying life is down to decisions. Yeah, where are you putting your focus? And then you've got things that are different now than ever before, and that is social media. And social media is driving us to focus in a specific way. And you've got to be able to be above that. Do you hear me? You've got to be above the crowd. Why be above the crowd? Because you're not the crowd. Let me share with you a secret if you don't know this. You're an individual. You're unique. There was no one on the planet like you. You are one of a kind. And guess what? That makes you special. So you weren't meant to be a part of a crowd. You were meant to interact from your unique perspective with the crowd. And here's the key thing. You were first meant to love yourself, to know yourself just like you are. And then you can know and love others just like they are. And when you do that, there is no judgment. That's love. Love is not romance. Romance is something, it's infatuation. It's the infatuation of the newness of recognizing an energy that you're attracted to. That's our job, Sandy, is to go above the influence and the power of the crowd. And that takes great courage. That takes great stamina. That takes great discipline. That takes great focus, because the crowd is really friggin' powerful. Peer pressure has always been the greatest challenge for anyone. But until we can overcome the peer pressure of the crowd, guess what? We can't be ourselves. We're controlled by fear of the crowd and what the crowd's going to think. Here's an attitude. Who cares what the crowd thinks? What really matters is, are you being authentic? Are you being loving? Are you being accepting? Are you being kind? Are you exploring life? Are you having greater and greater and greater life experiences? You're here to experience life. And the more you experience it, the more alive you are. And when you're alive, love is juiced in you and it radiates from you in ways you cannot even imagine. I'm watching my face as I'm talking to you, and I can see I'm juiced right now. I'm talking about the things that I love the most, and I've got you to hear. And maybe by me talking, maybe I can ask you to question a little bit. And if you question a little bit, then you'll find your own answer because I don't have it. I'm just the messenger. So with that, make this your greatest day ever. Look in the mirror today. Smile at yourself while looking in your eyes and say, you know, I'm so grateful to be you. Until tomorrow, make it a great one. Aloha.